For a few minutes this evening, I should like to speak to you about the serious situation that has arisen in Little Rock. To make this talk, I have come to the President's office in the White House. I could have spoken from Rhode Island, where I have been staying recently. But I felt that, in speaking from the house of Lincoln, of Jackson, and of Wilson, my words would better convey both the sadness I feel in the action I was compelled today to make, and the firmness with which I intend to pursue this course until the orders of the federal court at Little Rock can be executed without unlawful interference. In that city, under the leadership of demagogic extremists, disorderly mobs have deliberately prevented the carrying out of proper orders from a federal court. Local authorities have not eliminated that violent opposition. And under the law, I yesterday issued a proclamation calling upon the mob to disperse. This morning, the mob again gathered in front of the Central High School of Little Rock, obviously for the purpose of again preventing the carrying out of the court's order relating to the admission of Negro children to that school. Whenever normal agencies prove inadequate to the task, and it becomes necessary for the executive branch of the federal government to use its powers and authority to uphold federal courts, the President's responsibility is inescapable. In accordance with that responsibility, I have today issued an executive order directing the use of troops under federal authority to aid in the execution of federal law at Little Rock, Arkansas. This became necessary when my proclamation of yesterday was not observed, and the obstruction of justice still continues.
Mr. Trump, I want to ask you about something else you said during the course of this campaign. You said that the U.S. has to, quote, take out the families of terrorists. When it was pointed out that targeting civilians is against the Geneva Conventions, you said, quote, so they can kill us, but we can't kill them? It is against federal, military, and international law to target civilians. So how will you order the military to target the families of suspected terrorists while also abiding by the law?
First of all, let me go back to the other just for a second. In large mosques, in all over the Middle East, you have people chanting death to the USA. Now, that does not sound like a friendly act to me, because we have to be able to fight on at least somewhat of an equal footing, or we will never, ever knock out ISIS and all of the others that are so bad. We better expand our laws, or we're being a bunch of suckers, and they are laughing at us. They are laughing at us, believe me.
Senator Rubio, would you, as president, pursue a policy of targeting the families of suspected terrorists?
No, of course not. And we don't have to in order to defeat terrorists.
These are tough times. And I understand that Americans are angry and frustrated. But we do not need someone in the Oval Office who mirrors and inflames our anger and frustration. We need someone who can fix the problems that cause our anger and frustration. Seems like Americans are yearning for a strong leader. I'd like to remind you and the voters what true strength means. Strength means facing challenges and prevailing. It means sacrificing and enduring and emerging a better and bigger person. It means having a set of core principles, beliefs that are true on the campaign trail and will be still true in office. Strength is not empty rhetoric. It is not bluster. It is not theatrics. Real strength, strength of purpose, comes from integrity and character. And in my experience, the strongest person usually isn't the loudest one in the room.
So I was going to give, and this was another thing. People said, oh, well, you can't do that. Of course you can. You can do anything. You can do whatever you want to do. I'll be the greatest that God ever created, believe me. I'll be good. And they have me best in the economy, not like by 1 point, by like 50 points. On one of them, I think I was at 72, and number 2 was at 9.
That's a big difference. And they have me by far best in leadership.
Build the wall. Build the wall. Build the wall. Build the wall.
I've spoken of the shining city all my political life, but I don't know if I ever quite communicated what I saw when I said it. But in my mind, it was a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
And if there had to be city walls, the walls had doors.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. You have no choice. We have no choice.
And the doors were open to anyone with the will and the heart to get them. That's how I saw it and see it still. And how stands the city on this winter night? After 200 years, 2 centuries, she still stands strong and true on the granite ridge, and her glow is held steady, no matter what storm.
Knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? I will pay for the legal fees, I promise.
And as I walk off into the city streets, a final word to the men and women of the Reagan Revolution. My friends, we did it. We weren't just marking time. We made a difference. We made the city stronger. We made the city freer. And we left her in good hands.